Welcome back to Have You Met Her Yet? Today I have Leanne Bounds from Coco Bean. Thank you
Hi,
so much for joining me, Leanne.
thanks for having me.
So I would love it if you could share with us a little bit more about yourself. What is it that you do? What if you can tell us a little bit more about your company and how you kind of got to where you are today?
Sure. Yeah. Well, like you said, my name is Leanne Bounds. Um, I'm the owner of Coco Bean. We make luxury baby playmats here in Cochrane, Alberta. Um, and a little bit about myself. I have three boys, and which is kind of important. My firstborn, because he was the kind of aha moment behind my business. So when I had him, I was looking for a baby mat, but I couldn't really find one on the market that I liked or like really wanted. Like I thought, oh, okay, I'll
Mhm.
get this one because I need one for him to lie on and play on. But I just never loved it, and I always had to put blankets underneath it. Like we lived in a place that had mainly hardwood floors, like even our living room,
Right.
right? So I always was bulking it up. And it was hideous. It was like monkey jungle themed, I think. Yeah, right. So, and like modern, trendy, trying to be mom, I was like, it doesn't really fit with my style, but I got it, right? Um, and then that's when I started looking to see if there's anything on the market for moms that was just a bit prettier or more modern, to fit into my home decor a bit more. And had no luck really. So that I kind of sat on for a long time. I actually used that playmat with my oldest son, Cohen, the whole time. And then it was always kind of rattling in my head. That's this idea of making a playmat that could tick all those boxes that I wanted. But to be honest, it wasn't until like 2 years later, and my husband and I were driving back from Saskatchewan. If anyone's from Saskatchewan, they know what a drive like is in Saskatchewan. It's like the most boring drive ever, right?
So lots of
And
room for
after,
creativity.
yeah, exactly, right? So yeah, it was like what, a 6.5 hour drive home after Christmas. And my husband and I are just talking, and Cohen's in the back, and I think at that time of your life too, or yeah, time of the year, you're like, oh, the new year's coming. What are we doing? What our plans are? And we always kind of wanted to do something for ourselves and work for ourselves, so we could have freedom to do whatever we wanted, business wise and in our personal life. And oops, sorry. So that's when I ran this idea past my husband of a playmat that was super thick and comfy for babies, that had the raised sides so they could like be in their own little space and have the bars with the hangy toys. And I ran that past him. I'd seen something similar in Australia, um, but they weren't shipping to Canada, and there was nothing else in Canada. And it wasn't quite as thick in things as I wanted, but that's kind of preempted my search even more. Um, and then yeah, I told my husband, and he's like, I love it. Let's do it. And I'm like, okay. Like we've always tossed around ideas before, right? But we never did anything with them. Like they stopped at that conversation or after that glass of wine, right?
Right, right.
So yeah, so we just I don't know what was different about this idea, but we literally got home, and I think it was like the next day, we just went out and I bought a sewing machine. Hadn't sewn in 13 years. So I just went out,
Wow.
we drove down to our local place, bought a sewing machine, bought some fabric, and I set it up on my kitchen table, and I just started sewing, and I didn't know what I was doing. So of course we've actually kept all of our first mats and stuff because they're just funny to look back on now. Um,
Right.
but um, yeah, and I just kept sewing and sewing and learning, and until I was kind of happy with the mats that we produced. So the mat we do have, it's like an inch thick, like I said, raised sides, um, and it's patterns that are modern. They fit into your home decor, but most of all, just comfy for your baby to lay on. Like you can put them on there knowing that like they're just comfy, you don't have to worry about them rolling or falling off or hitting anything. And another thing that was Canadian made. We wanted to really kind of stick to that as much as possible, right? That it was Canadian made.
Right.
And I think why that was important to us was we wanted to be able to like give back to our community and support our community. And I think even now, so even more so than when we started this 2 years ago, it's really going that way where people want to support local and they want the money staying in the economy. And we wanted to build a business that did that. So we're about 2 years in now, and we're already starting to do that. So we've hired local seamstress, like we've brought on some new products. So she's doing that for us, and they are actually now being sold in a Cochrane little small business as well. So already, you know, we're seeing what it could be even more so in the future. So but yeah, so that's kind of the very start of Coco Bean and what our product is.
Yeah, that's amazing. I honestly love hearing the reason why people have become entrepreneurs and business owners. And a lot of the time, it is filling a need of something that they always wish they had or something that worked for them, especially for mothers. When mothers become entrepreneurs and they're filling something that they never had or would have made their life so much easier. So that's really, really cool to see. Did you ever envision yourself as an entrepreneur? Like now that you are one, what does that kind of look like? Like what are your thoughts and feelings of being an entrepreneur?
Yeah. Do you know if you would have asked me before I met my husband, probably not. Like that probably wouldn't be on the radar. I'm a teacher by trade. So like that's what I went to university for, and that's what I'm still actually doing. So I'm teaching full time alongside this right now. But no, I probably wouldn't have. So I got to kind of thank my husband for that. He kind of gave me my, you know, push and confidence to do that. And he is my business partner. Like we're in this together. Right. But yeah, so it's definitely like taking me out of my comfort zone for sure. Even though I'm a teacher and stand in front of kids all day and talk, but I don't do that to adults, right? So it's having to, put myself out there. You have to put your ideas and your things out there too, right? And I'm constantly second guessing myself. And two, like even to start, you second guess yourself, right? And that's something I really had to learn was nothing's going to be right at the start. You just have to take that first step. And I think that was the hardest bit. I think like, oh, I have this idea, I have this company. I'm meant to know what I'm doing already. I'm meant to be perfect already. And this like professional entrepreneur, but I wasn't, right? I was just someone who's sewn a mat, right? So it's taking a long time to get into that headspace, kind of that, I don't know. So and I remember I got some advice, like even to start my Instagram page, right? Like someone's like, you just have to do it and you'll find your flow. You'll find what your feed looks like. Like that's it. Like what my feed is now and what my vision of what I want Coco Bean to look at to the eye of my customers has come so far already in 2 years, that I'm glad you just start posting and then you just start building on that. So hopefully that answers your question.
And I mean, I think that's really important advice as well, is letting people know you need to start somewhere. Like, as you mentioned, you didn't have any previous like experience or schooling and like business or becoming an entrepreneur or anything like that. You kind of just like followed an idea, went through it. Even the prototypes you have, like I love that you've saved those, because I think it's really, really important for entrepreneurs to look back on where they started and see like how far you've come. And just that reminder of when business is good, that's great, but like where it started is always a really, really good point to remember. And again, to share with other people, because you're exactly right with the Instagram feed. I'm sure there's many entrepreneurs who look at your feed and think, oh my God, it looks great. It's so perfect. I want mine to be like that, but I don't know how to
Yeah,
do that. I'm not sure what to do, right? And like you said, you just kind of have to start, and
yeah,
organically it just comes
yeah,
with the more content, the more customers you have. I know for your
yeah,
feed, you reshare a lot of customer photos and stuff. And again, you're not going to have that right off the bat, but it's going to come slowly and organically. But
absolutely.
it's important to share that.
Yeah, like what you just said is exactly the thoughts through my head, right? Like, oh my gosh, theirs is so pretty. How do I get mine to like that? So I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to sit here and wait until I have that perfect feed, right? Or I have those
Yeah.
perfect pictures and ideas, and it doesn't. So yeah, at first, like even like my husband and I, yeah, we didn't actually like our feed. Like it was just like mat after mat. We're like, it needs more, right? Like it does. Like they're beautiful, but we
Yeah.
need more, right? But that's right. Then we started getting customers, and they started sending pictures, and then we can use them to show like babies on them. And um yeah, so yeah, it's just taking that first step.
Yeah, for sure. So you mentioned that you make everything yourself, and you said that you hadn't sewn for 13 years. So where did that original experience come from? Was it something as a kid you just like enjoyed doing? Like where did that kind of come from?
It was my, like, I was 13, like home economics class.
Oh,
And
I love
yeah,
that.
like I don't even think I did very good in that class. I think my parents probably still have like an unfinished elephant stuffy that like I just did not finish. I think I sewn some pajamas and like a pencil case, like pajama bottoms and a pencil case.
Oh, cool.
But it's funny because like my home like I'm from a small town in Saskatchewan, like 1,200 people, and still like friends on Facebook with many of them. And actually, my home economics teacher like reached out to me when
Oh,
she saw one of my
cool.
posts, right? And yeah, she like said, "Oh, looks like I did teach you something," or like
Oh, I
like
love that. That's so
yeah. So it's really
cool.
neat to like for her to kind of touch base again and see, yeah, like because obviously there were things I remembered because even I would do something, I'm like, oh yeah, how do I get it so you don't see the seam? Oh yeah, you do it inside out, right? So then I'd start fresh and I'd
Yeah.
do another one where it's inside out and then I flip it so you can't see the edges and stuff, right?
Right.
So yeah,
Right,
it
right.
definitely wasn't a passion. And I even have people kind of say to me now, like, oh, do you think you could like sew this or sew some children's clothes for me? And I'm like, no, like my sewing is very like specific to this. I taught myself like A, B, and C, and I'm sticking to it right now,
Yeah,
anyways,
yeah.
right?
That's really, really important to remember as well, that like this is what you're gonna focus on your skill set for,
Yeah,
nothing else. Like this is what you're gonna do right now.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
good. So you also mentioned that you have started to hire a team and etc. When was that point in your business where you were just like, I need extra help, I need extra hands? Like, when did that happen, and how did you go about finding someone?
Yeah, it happened, let's say, when was it? Probably actually close to a year ago now. And so it was kind of start of COVID, and
Mhm.
we were off school, so I was teaching from home, doing homeschooling for my oldest son, had a 1 year old, and I was pregnant. And I was like, and the orders were like, we were being consistent with orders monthly. Um, and I wasn't able to do the extra little bits I wanted to do. Like I was only having enough time to keep up with orders.
Right,
And we wanted to get like a stock, like, because they're all made to order right now. And ideally, we want to have a stock of
right.
mats ready to go. Um, so yeah, when an order comes out, it's here, right? Like, and just the way it was going with my home life and still teaching at the time, it just wasn't working. So that's when I reached out to a seamstress here in Cochrane, and I initially was going to get her to help me with mats. So she even came over. I kind of taught her how to do the covers because I thought she could do the covers,
Mhm.
and we started doing that. But then I just thought, like, just the logistics of it, like getting the materials to her and cut and things like that, because they're on big rolls. I didn't know if that was the best. And so we always thought too, we wanted to bring in, well, and then I thought, well, maybe she can do the bars for me or the toys. And I'll come back to the toys because someone does help me with the toys as well. But so yeah, I was just seeing that, okay, maybe the mat is my baby. Maybe I can stick to the mat. I can do that. But we wanted to do a line of blankets as well that were made in Canada. And so we sourced some really nice bamboo, like jersey material from BC actually. And
Amazing.
so we got her to do that. So it's at least then I'm still feeling we're growing and doing things on our checklist that we want to do to grow the business, where I can focus on the mats. And two, it was an easier job for her.
Right.
Too. So we could just give her the smaller rolls of material and she could go and do that. And so it was actually just, I think we met her through like a mom group sort of thing, right? And she actually made clothes for her kids. And so I just approached her and said, like, it's something you want to do on the side. Like she was kind of staying home with her kids at the time. And so, yeah, and that's how she started doing that. So she's doing that for us, for our blankets.
Oh, that's so cool. That's really great that you're able to find someone again locally and be able to use that resource, use their skill set, and again give you that time to focus on, you know, the things you enjoy doing in the business, but then other things that they can help you grow the business as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. So you said that you've sourced things from BC, you want to keep it local. For anyone who's looking right now to start an online business or start a business where they're sourcing different products and selling different things, can you share a little bit more about what that processes look like? Like what resources did you use? How did you even know where to look? Like, can you share a little bit about that? I know it's a struggle sometimes for people.
Yeah, it is. Like, so when we were looking for materials and that, I always, start within Canada to see what is offered. Sometimes you do just have to go outside of Canada to source materials, we find. So like where we can source, like for the blankets example, we do. Some of the materials for the mats, we do source overseas. And that was kind of my husband's finding. So luckily he was kind of on board with me there. So we use, it's called Alibaba.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah. So, and it's great, like search for any type of material, anything you want. And so we did that, and we ordered through them and have a great relationship with them. You can see like about the factory, like about their company, like where it's coming from as well, and get all the kind of stats on the materials. So so that's for those that material. Sometimes if I see a pattern I really like, and things through some of the fabric companies here in Canada, I still do source from there. Our mats are customizable as well, so and bespoke as well. So I've had customers who said, like, I'm looking for this material. And obviously my bigger suppliers don't have that, or it would take ages for it to come in, right? So then there's a few companies that I use. Where are they? One's Manitoba, and I think one again is BC. So I'll check their sites, and then hopefully be able to support them. But yeah, so that's kind of the process we go. We kind of see within Canada where it is that we can get it. And then we also use Alibaba and our connections there.
Oh, that's great. And with these companies, are you able to get like samples? Are you able to like test and try them out for quality?
Yeah.
Like how does that kind of work?
Yeah, absolutely. So before we do any sort of purchase, we always get a sample, and it's like ranges from maybe $100 to $200. And then maybe post and packaging or whatever. That might include post and packaging, right? But yeah, so you tell them exactly what you want. You just pay for it right there, and they send it to you. And samples are usually really quick. And then you can test to see if it is what it is you're looking for. Sometimes, and it's a more back and forth process. Sometimes we really lucked out and be like, yes, this is perfect. This is what we wanted. but yeah, so that's kind of the bit I get most antsy about, because I just get so excited about getting our products and our materials that I just want it here now, right? So sometimes it
Yeah.
does go back and forth, and you have to be a bit patient to get it perfect.
Yeah, yeah, just the trial error, like trying and testing that out, etc. Yeah.
Yeah.
While you were growing your business or starting it, was there a moment that was sort of a pivotal moment for you that happened, whether it was um working with like a certain company or marketing it a certain way? Like, was there something that happened in your company that kind of changed things um for the better for you guys?
Yeah, I think so. Cause like another reason for wanting to start this is like I said, we wanted to somehow like support our local community, right? Whether it was like employing people or raising money for like charities and things like that. And it actually came a bit quicker than I thought. Because I was introduced to a lady named Jessica Jansen, and she's like the founder of Love for Lewiston Foundation. I don't know if you're familiar with, but what it is they raise money for babies with SMA. And her little guy unfortunately passed away just shy of his 6-month birthday because of this rare genetic disease. And I forget how I kind of came across her, but then so every year for her son's birthday, they have a massive birthday party for him where they raise money. And so I noticed that I started following her, and they were doing you could donate items that for the live auction on the night. So I just messaged, or I don't even think I messaged her. I think it just said, if you want to donate, here's the address. So I just made a mat. I donated it with like starting bid thing, right? Because I thought whatever to help raise money for this awareness or this cause is great. And so we did that. And then it kind of snowballed that other SMA moms reached out to me because they either saw the mats or actually, and she had another boy around the same time. And so we did a collab together, and I gave her a mat for her little guy. And then from that, more people saw him, right? And then, yeah, like then I had a SMA mom message me and said, like, your mat would be so amazing for my little girl. They told me her story, and like just like my mama heart, my human heart, right? Just anything.
Yeah.
It was just like it was just felt that okay, like I need to give these mats to these babies, right?
Yeah.
So sorry, I keep pulling down. So yeah, so then I would give I gave mats because like these SMA babies spend a lot of time doing physio, right? On the mat. So it was kind of our way just to ensure that they had a comfortable and safe place to do their exercises, do their tummy time, try to build up their strength. So yeah, so like that one then mom, turned to another mom and another mom. So I think we've donated about 4 mats to SMA families. Wow. Yeah. So that was one way that, right, like within a couple months of like starting Coco Bean, that we were able to already do a little bit, right? Like in the scheme of things, it kind of seems so small, but I think to those families it wasn't, right? So that's something that we hopefully can continue in the future and reach out to those families who need it. And also too, like I know obviously things have stopped kind of with COVID, but donate, more mats for silent auctions and things like that to raise more money. So yeah, so that was kind of like like you said, the pivotal moment, like, oh, maybe this is our place. Maybe this is one area where, we can be known for or help. And yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. I love that. Such a nice moment. And again, a heartfelt thing that if this is the purpose for your business at this moment, like that was such a beautiful way that you can connect with babies who need that and etc. That's really, really
and
cool.
to be honest too, it was great. Like I connected with those mothers as well, right? And now they're some of my closest little like Instagram friends, right? Who we interact with like weekly. So, and you know, it's nice to see their babies get the treatment that they need and become stronger and all that. So yeah, it's nice to, you know, kind of be a part of that community and meet those people as well.
Yeah, I love
Mhm.
that. That's really, really cool. Um, I just lost my train of thought what I was gonna go to next. Oh my gosh. Hmm. Oh, what I was gonna ask was, so I know previously you've done markets and you did, as you mentioned, this event, it was in person, you were able to meet people, show people the mat.
Yeah.
Obviously, last year changed all of that.
Hmm.
Can you share a little bit more about how that changed um, your marketing initiatives, how you were able to get the mat in front of people to show them and share them? Can you share also if you had to do anything to get yourself online or if you already were online? Because I know for a lot of businesses, that was like a really, really big change for them.
Yeah. Luckily, because we were already online and that was our main way of selling, that didn't affect us. So we're kind of lucky in that sense. We had done couple markets in our first year, three. Um, and I don't know if it was just the product we had. We didn't find it actually the best. Like I think when you're going to a market, whether it being baby market or 'cause we did baby market, we did kind of like a modern home market, just like tons of like, you know, like baby stuff, but home stuff, kids
Right.
stuff, right? But I think if you're going to go to market, and even me as a consumer going to a market, I think you want to go there, yeah, to pick up some clothes items or food and like littler things. Where ours is a bigger item, right? That I think that you want to hear about us and it's more of a you need to decide if you want it kind of thing, right? It's not a going to a market on a Saturday sort of thing. So we
Right,
did
right.
it initially, like, yeah, to get out there and like you said, yeah, for people to touch it and feel it. And that bit I is what kept me going for it because I wanted people to see it in real life, right? Um, but then, yeah, so we did a few and weren't overly amazed, right? I think if anything, it brought us customers, yeah, but so that was good because they were able to touch it and feel it and then still make their decision. But then when COVID hit and then we weren't able to do those anymore, it wasn't that big of a hit on us, I don't find, because we had already kind of built up our online presence and our Instagram was growing. And it just, I think, I felt I could then put that marketing money more into Instagram pushes and Facebook pushes and
Mhm.
things like that. So people can see it just visually that way. Um, and it seemed to be fine, like you know, that aspect of not tangibly able to feel it and touch it to make your decision if you want it doesn't seem to have made a difference. I try to be active on Instagram. Like I said, I'm still learning and trying to get comfortable. Like back to your question about, you know, you as an entrepreneur, yeah, I'm still trying to like wrap my head around all Instagram and being on there as much as I can for engagement. But yeah, so I'll do little lives of me setting it up or going through the pieces and touching it and feeling it so people can sort of try to see like, oh, okay, yeah, this isn't just your normal run of the mill mat.
Right.
There's a bit more to it. So um, yeah, so I think where our marketing kind of shifted then was not into markets and getting out there face to face with people, but just pushing it on Instagram and things like that to get across Canada and even into the US. Because I think that's probably the most challenging thing as a business owner is getting your product out there. Do you know what I mean? Like how you have
Mhm.
this idea and it could be the best idea in the world, right? But
Yeah.
how do you get it in front of people, right? And we're still working on that. I still work on that daily, right? What are
Yep.
the best strategies to do that? We've worked with influencers. Some worked great, some not as well as others, right? So then you weigh up that, like, okay, how beneficial is that for us? Um, Same, yeah, with our Instagram boosts. Some do like really well. You think, wow, and then that same one the next month won't do as well. So you're just saying, oh, okay, well, what's different about that post? Like, so it's all trial and error, and finding your feet. But yeah, so we've definitely gone more online marketing.
Yeah, I'm really happy that you guys didn't struggle too much with going online and everything else. You're able to pivot your marketing strategies and etc. Around influencers, for someone who has dreams of working with an influencer, or they want to get their product out there, what do you think is the biggest lesson you've learned with working with influencers, and what would you say are the best qualities of working with an influencer? Like, what is the perfect kind of influencer, either for your brand or just like in general?
Yeah, really good question. I would say, because like too, when I first started looking at Instagram, because all these, they're all so pretty, right? These feeds that they look so professional and beautiful, that wow, this is really someone, right? And sometimes it's just like not the case, I find, right? Like, because I was, even before I knew you could buy followers and all this, right? So I would look at followers, I was like, wow, they got 50,000 people following them. Oh my goodness. Right. But we've learned that's not really like the case, right? And it's not even just about the followers. It's how authentic are they, and what are their posts about? What are they about? And do they fit your vision, right? Because what I was very clear kind of with working with them is like, I want you to use it authentically. I don't want you to have to push to use it, right? Like I want you to use it as if you were using it with your baby, right? And happen to take some photos and like, you know, and share it on your stories and that, right? So to find people that want to do that, and again, you win and lose some, right? Because just for whatever reasons. But yeah, so when looking for an influencer, I'm kind of not, you look for like their engagement more so, right? Than their followers, because you can buy followers, but engagement is real, right? So, and I'm even learning how to do that like the correct way, but like, you know, now we do kind of look at more like, how many comments do they have? Like, and not all that kind of things. And yeah, so we worked with some in the US that worked really good for us. And then obviously that gives us more of a presence in the US, which worked really nice. And I'm still trying to find some in Canada to work, because we really want to obviously push that for Canada. But yeah, so I would say, like, to answer your question is, yeah, trying to narrow down those accounts that fit in with your sort of values, and that they will show that, you know, with their use of your product.
Yeah, I think that's really, really important. Like you said, the follower count versus engagement, because I do think the follower count has completely changed, especially in the last year, with Instagram taking away the like button and all of these other things. That follower count isn't as magical as it used to be, because like you said, if you don't have the engagement, if you're not genuine, if you're not authentic, you can really, really see through that. And you're going to get people who are going to want to follow people they actually like, they actually relate to, they know aren't just getting paid to put this like shiny thing on their page, but it's something that they genuinely love. They use it for their baby. They like, it's a game changer for them. That's where you're going to get your ideal client, is from those people who are like, oh, I need that for my baby, and I love that. And, you know, like that sort of thing is what you really, really want. And I'm glad that that's slowly changing, and like the micro influencer is more of a thing for brands to connect with, as opposed to the big shiny celebrity or brand or whatever that looks like. Again, people want that like real human connection. They know that they're not getting hundreds of thousands of dollars for a post. It's like they bought it because they love it and it works for them, right?
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
Do you have any dream influencers or brands that you would love to work with or collaborate with?
I'd love to work with the Bird's Papaya.
Yeah,
who just
she's
had a
wonderful.
baby. Yeah, and she's like, she makes me laugh on the daily. And like
Yeah.
to me, that's someone who just like, right, she's just raw and authentic. And yeah, I would love to, yeah. But yeah, it's like, it's people like that, like people who I physically follow myself,
Yes.
who, entertain me, or like, or there's a reason why I'm following them. But yeah, I don't think so. Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
it. Well, we'll put the intentions out there.
Yes. Yeah. Come on. My email is, yeah.
Yeah. So one thing we haven't touched on, which you kind of talked about it in your intro, but you have 3 boys. You
Do.
have another full-time job, you are a mother full-time, and you have this business. How do you juggle all of it? What does a daily schedule look like for you? Or maybe a weekly schedule? Maybe your days are a little bit different.
Yeah, that's why, like, something we're kind of still working on is schedule and daytime. Yeah, it's luckily my parents live locally, so they take my boys, except for the baby. Like he's my youngest is 5 months, so he's very still close to me. But
Yeah.
they take the other 2 days a week, and do like the school runs. And they were doing that before I had my last baby, which was great because then like Tuesdays and Thursdays were my day, right? Like kids were picked up, and by 9 o'clock, I had my day. And this is, yeah, when I wasn't teaching. But now that I've got the littler one, that's not happening as much, because you think like, oh yeah, I'll just work when baby sleeps and I'll get all this work done and baby will just listen to me. Well, no, like
So easy.
luckily if he naps like 40 minutes at a time, right? But then too, within that time, you're like, okay, do I shower? Do I clean up from breakfast? Do I do this? Right? So it is a struggle. And I think my husband and I struggle with it every day. Like that I feel, and even he feels, because he works a full-time job too. So the parts that he puts into the business and I do, we feel we're not giving it as much attention as we would like, just because our lives are so busy with 3 boys, and other things. But I still say like Tuesdays and Thursdays is where I try to, those are my days to do Coco Bean. Every day I'm doing it though, like, and that's because it's on my phone, right? So I'm always doing posts of that. I need to be better at that. I know there's like this, I think maybe you've told me about this fancy way where you can like set up all your posts and they can post, but to me that's even daunting. Like, okay, so I have to like sit
Yeah.
down for like a whole like hour and do that. Like that's a lot for me right now, right?
Mhm,
So I
mhm.
haven't done that yet even. But so yeah, right now it's just a hot mess, if I'm perfectly honest. We're just like juggling it. Like when I get time, I'll go down and sew. Like it's late nights mainly, right? Like it's the kids in bed and we go down there and we put some music on and we get sewing, and my husband will be doing some of the back work stuff if we're say ordering stuff in or looking at new products and things like that. So yeah, it can be tricky for sure. And I think like a lot of probably entrepreneurs who have multiple hats feel too, right? Like it's
Yeah.
yeah, so that's something we're definitely working on, is just having those times to be more present 100%, because you'll get more done, right? So I think just as my kids get older too, I'll have more time. Like right now I've only got one in school, and that's part-time school, because here in
Right.
Alberta kindergarten's only half days, right? So
Oh, okay.
so I have, all 3 kids here in the mornings, for sure. So yeah, I think like as their schedules get busier with school, that will, free up time for me. But we're just going with it and enjoying the ride while it, as it is right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but but it definitely helps having my parents here. It's actually my mom. I said to come back to the toys and like getting help and product help in that. So my mom makes all the felt toys for us, so
Oh,
that's nice
cool.
because it's a huge, time saver on my point of it. And she's always been a crocheter and things like that, or like knitting. Like she knits my boys' stockings for Christmas and things like that. So I think and I hope she likes it. So yeah, all the felt toys are her doing.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so
True family business.
it is. Yeah, through and through for sure. Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. I honestly don't know many entrepreneurs who have the full schedule worked out, whether they're a parent or not. I
Yeah.
mean, especially in these times of not
Mm.
really having a real schedule and then things changing and everything. It's so hard, and it's constantly balancing it and figuring it out and tweaking here and there. And
Absolutely.
yeah, it's just the constant kind of roller coaster for sure.
Yeah.
Where do you see the business being in about, 3 to 5 years? Do you have any goals of adding anything else? I know you mentioned you added the blankets. Is there anything for 2021 that it's happening? Where do you kind of see things going?
Yeah. So more kind of short term, like 2021, not sure yet. Kind of short term, we want to do more blanket ranges. So yeah, we have a Let's Swaddle blanket, which is a bamboo like jersey blanket. So it's really stretchy and light. And again, like I did really kind of modern, not muted colors, I don't know what you call them, but just like a forest green and a nice dark blue and things like that. So we got those. We actually, I'm hoping come spring to launch a Muslim swaddle line as well. That is
Oh,
from like more Canadian made. And we want to use natural products to dye. So again, so we just want to stay true to being natural and being Canadian made.
mhm.
So we're in the midst right now of trying to source the perfect bamboo muslin blanket and the dyes as well. So we've got some natural dyes in. So that's our next kind of venture. We're going to learn how to dye fabric, and
Wow.
yeah, so that we're kind of
Well,
excited about that. And so yeah, we're kind of hoping to release some, and these will be like softer muted, like tie dye and solid um, muslin blankets for hopefully springtime.
oh, cool.
Because the muslin blankets that we're going to be using and making here, like I've bought them for my boys, all three of them, and I just love them. Like so, like I can't see my as a mother going through motherhood without these blankets. Like they're a multi-use blanket, right? You can use them for swaddling. Because they're quite big. So swaddling and stroller blankets, car seat cover, nursing cover, right? So, and I put my baby to sleep with it every single time. Like they're breathable as well, which is nice. But like it just like comforts his little head. And they're now my oldest two's like their lovey item. Like they sleep with them every night now, right? So I just think it's a product I bought all my babies when they were first born, and my 6-year-old is still using it. So
Oh,
it's
that's
insane
cute.
if I don't bring a blanket of my own into this. So
Right.
so yeah. So yeah, so we're yeah, just kind of in the process now of sourcing those and hopefully launch those in April. And kind of further down the line, like more into the future, yeah, we want Coco Bean to be kind of one-stop local Canadian shop that you can go to. Like you're having a baby, you can come onto our site and here's everything you need. Like of your smaller items, right? Like we're not doing like car seats, anything like that, but kind of your more like kind of made in Canada baby essentials. So that's kind of where, I don't know if that's quite 2022 or what, but that is our kind of vision, is we want to be that kind of stop shop for people to come and get what they need.
I love that. That's really cool, and definitely
Mhm.
an incredible goal to have. With how crazy things are continuing with the world and et cetera, how do you continue to keep your positivity and motivation to see that goal through and to keep kind of going with your business?
Yeah, like it's we just literally just take one day at a time. Like I think actually I seen a quote from you, this maybe even a year ago, it was something about like, you get the hurrah when you start a business, right? Do you recognize what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That
yeah,
you get
yeah.
the pat on the back, the well done for starting your business, but really that pat on the back should be the you're still going every day,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it is a massive roller coaster. There's highs, there's lows. Yeah, there's days where both Craig and I probably like think, what are we doing here? Like, are we out of our depth? Right? But we just have to go back to those values and the core of why we started it, and just take it a day at a time, and just have fun with it. Like, because, and this will stick out in my mind, like there was a day where we got some bad news about something relating to our business, and I just broke down, right? And most maybe husbands might come in for a nice hug or something. Well, Craig grabbed his phone and took a picture of me bawling.
okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right? But he's like, I want to document this, that this is the raw, this is the real of owning a business. It's not all sunshine and rainbows and easy. Otherwise, everyone would do it. Right?
Yes, yes.
Um, it's, yeah. And yeah, especially with other life things and that, it's hard, right? It is hard.
Yeah.
So yeah, we literally just take each day as we go, and we just bounce things off one another. And we let each other have those bad days, because then tomorrow we'll wake up with a fresh head, and that problem or that thing yesterday didn't seem that bad anymore, right?
Yeah.
And you work around it. I think that's it too. Like, nothing is really like undoable or unfixable. And then that's what we've learned. Like, like we've had to learn everything. Like, yeah, like where do you source things from? Where do you do this? How do you, like, because a part of our poll, like we had to get another section to go into it. So it was sturdier, right? But like, so where do you even start to find a little pole that needs to go within a pole, right? But, you tap into your resources and the internet and businesses and ask questions, and you find the answers, right? So I think that's what we've really learned, is that like, really there's nothing that's not doable. You don't know the answer yet. And I think that's where, like, I got asked in the past, like, if you had like one thing of advice or whatever to give, it would just be that, just start, just take that first step, just start. Sorry, the thing went. And because like if I didn't buy that sewing machine that day, we probably wouldn't be here today. Even like our very first photo shoot that actually a friend of mine did for our website, I didn't even have that perfect yet. Like, the covers, I didn't know how to do invisible zip, and it was driving me insane. Eventually I YouTubed it, right? And I learned that way. But our very first photo shoot, the zippers weren't how I wanted them, but we just did it. We booked the photo shoot, we did it. And then when we launched and all of a sudden I had an order, I very quickly had to figure out how to do that invisible zip so it was perfect, right? So
Right,
I think
right.
that too was another, like you said, pivotal time where it was like, you will perform when you need to. I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's honestly, again, it's such an important thing to know, and such an important lesson, because again, you could sit back on an idea or something for so long because you don't have the right resources, or you don't think it looks perfect yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you don't know until you start. And like you said, if you
Yeah.
didn't buy that sewing machine on that whim, on that thing, like you probably would have still been sitting on that idea thinking like, hey, remember 6 years ago when we talked about that? That was
Yeah.
cool, but we didn't really do it, right?
Do
And
it.
it's a lot of the ideas seem crazy at first, but if that idea and that spark is there, you just kind of have to jump on it. And
Yeah.
again, worst case scenario, it doesn't work, you move on, but you just
Yeah.
truly never know
No.
until you just test it out, you try it. Because yeah, you don't want to look back years later thinking, damn, why didn't I do that idea?
No.
Or you see someone else do it and you think,
Exactly, right? You kick yourself. Like, no. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's it. And like, and even sometimes when, even like earlier on when you launch and you don't get orders for a long time. You're like, what are we doing? But like Craig and I said, like, what else would we be doing? We're home with 3 kids. We just be watching TV at night. We're downstairs in our studio, working, having more time together. Like, so worst case is we spent more time together.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And the raw moments, I know how scary that might have been in the moment, but I'm sure, again, you remember that happened. It's something that it sticks in your brain of, we're having these beautiful times, it's successful, and then you had that one moment that makes it raw and emotional and hard. And again, I'm always one for sharing those stories. A lot of people I interview, I always want to know, like, okay, tell me the dirty stuff. I don't want to hear all of the amazing successful things, because people need to know that it's not easy all the time. We do have breakdowns. We are stressed out or depressed or feeling like we want to quit. Like, all of those things happen all the time. Even though our Instagram feeds look great, it's not the reality for the most part, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I can give you an example of that. Like, we've got like tons of this foam in our basement and filling up our garage because Craig ordered the wrong stuff. Like, it was like a polyfill to fill our mats, but it was like an extra virgin. It's too like the density of it made the mat too heavy. But that's when we were very early onto it, and he didn't get a sample. And so we have all this stuff now. Literally, we can't park our car in our garage because it's in there.
You need a photo of that.
I'll get it for you, right? So like, it's those things where like, oh my God. At the time, it's like, this is huge. It's a huge deal. Like, what are we gonna do with all this? But now we're like, okay, what product could we make to use that? Right?
Yeah.
And that's what we're kind of doing. So there are like ideas we're thinking down the line where actually that fluff and that density of fluff will be good for a smaller product. So and like too, like again, early on, we ordered too much material of stuff where that's not our best-selling mat, and now we have all this material of this, right? So like, you're just like, in the long run, it was like cheaper to buy it in that bulk, but now we've got all this, the material, because you don't know until where I can say like, oh yeah, our marble is our bestseller, and our like slate, right? But we have lots of that, but we also have the same amount in all the others that aren't our bestsellers, right? So and you don't see all that. You don't see that stress of like buying in the wrong material and not having a place for it.
And again, when you're starting out, it's hard to know because you don't have many customers yet. You don't know what people are liking, what you like, other people might not like. Especially with different colors and patterns. I mean, that's also sometimes trendy.
Exactly.
So again, you wouldn't know, but that's a lesson that is probably, you're never going to do that again because you finally learned that lesson, but you had to have done that first. Because, if you didn't, you would have never realized, okay, we need to wait, listen to our audience, listen to our ideal customer.
And always get a sample. Always
get a sample. That's a really, really, really good lesson. Do you have a resource or something that you that has kind of helped you grow your business, or like helped giving you advice or anything like that? Like, do you have like other entrepreneurs you talk to? Is there like a website that you always go to? Are there like podcasts you listen to?
There's not really. Like early, like in the first year, I went to some marketing events, right, where other like entrepreneurs spoke and told their story, and things like that helped just to get an idea of people's journeys and how they started off. But no, I don't think, like, I would love that actually. Like, if there was a resource, I'm sure there is, I just probably haven't found it.
That's okay.
Like I guess I find things or people in similar, like on Instagram, and will follow them, right, to see what they're doing and get ideas or inspiration that way. So I follow other businesses for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, just seeing like what other people are doing, getting ideas from them,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. Yeah, that's really awesome. Um, let me see. Is there anything that you wish someone had shared with you before you started your business or you became an entrepreneur?
Hmm. I think like just how kind of hard it is. I think like because maybe like I was naive, you think like, oh, I'll be just like working for myself and I get to pick and choose the days I work, and that's great because then I can be with my kids on these days. And because it's not quite yet folding out like that, right? Like I just feel like I'm always on, always business, always mom. Um, so yeah, maybe just the art of balancing it all.
Yeah.
Because it's hard, especially nowadays where like your phone, it can be literally connected to you, right? That it's, my husband has to remind me sometimes like you need to just set aside a time where you are going to do a post or you're going to check messages and things like that, because otherwise you can be doing it all day long. Yeah, and then you just get burnt out. Yeah. So
yeah, now it's really important to set time or set a schedule, even or even a timer. I've found within the last year, someone told me about setting a timer for something. There's some days that I get really, really overwhelmed with emails, and I just set out a half an hour timer and I respond to as many as possible. And if I complete them, great. If not, I just don't stress about it, because sometimes it's daunting for days of not reading or following up or replying. So the timer thing has been a really, really good
that's a great idea.
Secret thing for me.
I think I might take that for sure. Like set myself like 45 minutes to go down and sew, and then I know I'll just like power through it. Because I think that's half my issue too. Is I'll get down there, but I'll like dilly dally, right? And then before I know it, baby's up from his nap, or we have to go here or there, and I'm like, I've sewn one toy when I could have done a lot more.
Yeah, exactly. The timers. What piece of advice would you give to a mother who wants to start her own business right now? What is something that you want to give to someone?
Be passionate about it. I think, like it's got to be something that you are passionate, that you'd use yourself. And especially for like a mother or a new mother, like give yourself grace. Like, because I think that it's so hard, because moms want to wear all the hats too, right? They want to be good at everything. And it's not always the case. So, I think just like give yourself grace and just take it a day at a time. And go back to that point. Just start, take that step forward, and just to keep taking those little steps. I think,
that's great. Such good advice. The last question I have for you is, what is your favorite thing about being a female?
Oh, I don't think I've ever been asked this. Why am I finding that so hard?
It's a loaded question for sure.
I think that's what it is, right? There's like, can be so much to it. Is it do you, for me especially, is it, the fact of being a mother and being that like safe haven for my 3 boys? I constantly think that, like I thought that strangely enough today as I was rocking my littlest one to sleep, like just to be that person that like that one person feels the safest in. Like that's crazy, right? Like to feel that from one person. So as a mother, I think that just to be, that person for 3 boys.
I love that.
Yeah, I think that's probably, I don't think I have another answer for a different avenue. I think that's it. I think for me, it's, being a mom and being that person for my boys.
I love that. And I do love when I do ask this question, whatever comes to mind is like the best kind of answer, because again, it
Yeah.
is a very loaded question. You could probably talk for hours on why you
Yeah.
love being a female.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things that I love hearing the responses that I get
Yeah.
from people.
Yeah. I loved it. Yeah. Thanks for making me stop and think about it.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing everything. Before you leave, is there anything else you want to share with our community that we didn't touch on?
I don't think so. Just that if you're in the business or in the market, I should say, of baby mats, you can find us at cocobean.ca on Instagram, or coco-bean.ca is our website.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Leanne. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for having me, Lindsay.